Glad Fiorini. My pronouns are she, her. It is my honor to be in the pulpit today as the worship associate with Reverend Dara. We gratefully acknowledge the Patuxet Wampanoag people on whose ancestral lands we gather today. We commit to support and honor their history and culture. We welcome all of you, members and friends and newcomers alike. Whoever you are, wherever you are on your spiritual journey, however you identify, whomever you love, whatever your age, young or older, for this 1 hour, you are part of this congregation and you are welcome. Now, normally we have coffee hour following the service. However, today our annual program meeting starts at 11. Therefore, we will have a slightly shortened service, and at the end, we invite you to go get your coffee and treat and return to the sanctuary for our meeting. All members are urged to attend. We need a quorum. And if you are not a member, you are welcome to attend, but you cannot vote. Because of the shorter service, we will be postponing joys and concerns to next week, at which time they will be spoken, not written. The big announcement today is that the summer fair is on Saturday. Woohoo, yeah. We would love to have everybody participate, whether you're working or attending. Go through your stuff still. We need more stuff. Thanks. Then next Sunday is our flower communion service. Please bring a flower to share. However, if you forget, not to worry, there will be extras.
Good morning, everyone. Back in January when the snow was flying and we could barely get here, I never imagined a 90-degree day when we're sitting here sweltering. I don't know which one's worse, but welcome. So my name is Dara Bryans, and I use she, her pronouns, and I am the minister here at First Parish Church in Duxbury. As I say each week, I invite you to please silence your cell phones so that we can preserve our sacred space and time here together. Our opening words this morning are called We Practice Being Called, and they were written by queer UU minister Reverend Dr. Samantha Wilson. A call to worship is secretly a call to focus our attention. Choosing to focus our attention is countercultural. Daily, we are called to worship at the altar of many devices, surveillance systems we let take the lead over our every waking moment. We are called by headlines set purely on our activation and by tools that gamify our every human connection. We are not called, we are led. We are not led, we are entrapped. Instead, here we practice being called. We are called to bring our attention to the altar of unpredictable human relatedness. We are called by these ancestors, this wood, the room's particular light, the chalice's particular fire when we light it, and our children who are with us in the room. We are called to focus all our attention on a foolhardy and open-hearted commitment to share a future together we cannot cancel nor control. In the words of poet-farmer Wendell Berry, we are called here to do something today that does not compute. Spirit of life, call our collective attention to this precise moment, the threshold between then and now, the moment upon which we hang our honest promises like portraits, chiseled and framed by our own hands, imperfectly and together. Come, let us worship together. Our opening hymn is Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing, and it was written by 18th century British Unitarian minister Robert Robinson. I invite you to rise in body or in spirit and join in singing hymn number 126. Lyrics are in the gray hymnals and on our screens.
the fount of
doxology.
Let this flame be to us a symbol of the wholeness we seek. Its glow reminding us of the sacred bonds that link us to all living things.
Any longer, we do have folks who are happy to take our children out onto the playground, should they wish to do so. They can follow Donna and Christina as we sing This Little Light of Mine as they go out to play. Sometimes I wish I was a kid going out on the playground. Instead, I invite you all into our time of meditation and prayer. And for this time of meditation and prayer, I'm going to offer a metta meditation from Vietnamese Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh. And for those of you who might be unfamiliar with what a metta meditation is, it's also known as a loving kindness meditation. And Thich Nhat Hanh has this to say about metta meditations. The meditation helps us practice loving ourselves and others in a most wholesome way. The meditation is very ancient. It has always been taught that we should be able to love and take care of ourselves in order to be able to love and take care of others. So when you are beginning the practice of loving kindness, you should always start by wishing for yourself what is good, beautiful, and true. It's important to feel a real emotional connection of love and compassion for yourself, to recognize that you, just like everyone else, need and deserves happiness, safety, security, freedom from anger, and so on. So if you would now settle into your seats wherever it is that you are joining us from, feel your seat cradling your body. Send your attention down through your feet, through the floor, down into the earth beneath the place where you find yourself. And ground yourself here and now in this place and time. And breathe with me in and out. As I read each line of our metta meditation, I will pause briefly so that you can reach for those feelings, the real emotions that these words evoke. Let us begin. May I be peaceful, happy, and light in body and spirit. May I be safe and free from injury. May I be free from anger, fear, and anxiety. May I learn to look at myself with the eyes of understanding and of love. May I be able to recognize and touch the seeds of joy and happiness within myself. May I live fresh, solid, and free. May I be free from attachment and aversion, but not indifferent. I invite us to take 3 deep breaths in at your own pace. And now we turn our meditation outward to those who are in the room here with us, and then circling outward to include our families and friends, as well as all people living beyond the walls of our church. And this time, as I pause between each line, you're invited to feel the emotions and send those outward and onward to those people. May all people be peaceful, happy, and light in body and spirit. May all people be safe and free from injury. May all people be free from anger, fear, and anxiety. May all people learn to look at themselves with the eyes of understanding and love. May all people be able to recognize and touch the seeds of joy and happiness in themselves. May all people live fresh, solid, and free. May all people be free from attachment and aversion, but not be indifferent. Amen, and blessed be. Rebecca, the kids have gone on the playground if you want to take your kids out. They are welcome to stay if you want. Now is the time in our service where we receive the morning's offering. These offerings go to support the life and work of this congregation. I invite you to give as generously as you are able. May the ushers please come forward.
you so much for your offering. Thank you to Marcy Jackson for the beautiful flowers. Our reading this morning comes from the chapter titled Curiosity in the book Your Heart Was Made For. Your Heart Was Made for This, by Euro-American Buddhist practitioner, as well as mediation and nonviolent communications teacher, Oren J. Sofer. Our cat, Lexi, picks her way carefully through the front yard. Primarily an indoor creature, she relishes time outdoors. It warms my heart to see her captivated by life. The breeze kicks up, and she grows intensely still and focused, receiving every smell, sound, and movement with rapt attention. Parenting a newborn, I see this natural curiosity abounding. As our son grows, riveted by a string of colored lights, I see them dazzle in a new way. Curiosity is the gateway to understanding. It is a strong desire to learn or know, an open, interested attention that seeks to understand. We all possess this quality, or its analog, interest, and we can develop it. Humans have harnessed the potency of curiosity to uncover vast knowledge of our world, from the mind-boggling expansion of the universe to the intimate reality that atoms are almost entirely mere space. True curiosity allows us to see beyond the structures, messages, and roles we have been handed by society and history, roles that can feel so innate that we may never have examined them. Curiosity holds a mirror up to nature, questioning what we believe and why, how we behave and why. It invites us to step back and consider how these notions arose. Do they align with our values, our deepest truths? This curiosity is radical. When combined with strengths like resolve, courage, mindfulness, kindness, and equanimity, curiosity can reveal and transform deeply unconscious patterns of bias. Therein ends our reading.
So, curiosity is our theme for the month of June. And of course, that childhood saying kept leaping into my mind about curiosity and cats. And even though I never liked this phrase for the ways it seems to blame cats and the children who are always admonished by it to behave, it blames them for any possible harm that might come their way, and that just seemed wrong. But don't worry. No cats or children were harmed in the creation of this sermon. And spoiler alert, the answer is no. Curiosity did not kill the cat. It is alive and well. In our reading, Oren J. Sofer describes the joy his indoor cat found in the world outside that was teeming with life. The cat stills, lifting its nose, scenting and seeking and looking, entirely focused on what he found, feeling the breeze, rapt and intent on taking it all in. I remember when my children were little, they loved to get their hands on my iPhone, especially on those very long drives down to Philadelphia to visit their cousins. And on one memorable trip, they managed to change my name in my phone to Nom Nom. I still don't know how they did it. And I could never get it to go back to my name again, but every time I asked Siri to text someone, Siri would say, Om nom nom, what would you like to text that person? For years, she has called me Om nom nom, and for years, even to this day, I don't know how they managed to do this. But one thing I do know, I know that my kids were fearless and boundless in their curiosity and their creativity. They made no assumptions about how things work. They pushed all of the buttons. They tested ideas and tried things out, learning about themselves and the world as they explored. Their deep well of curiosity made me realize that somewhere along the line of growing into adulthood, I had forgotten how to approach life with that same sense of wonder and delight and joy in exploration. And my kids taught me how to reclaim my curiosity, my excitement that things are not always as I think they are. And I was not raised a Unitarian Universalist. I think I've mentioned several times before. And I came to this faith with my family when our children were little. We were seeking a place where my children and Daryl and I could all find a spiritual home. My first year at what is now my home congregation, the First Parish of Sherborne, I struggled in the same way that I struggled to get Siri to stop calling me Om Nom Nom, and that would be with frustration and delight. Because church, as I had known it as a child, was centered on a shared belief, a creed. And I couldn't reconcile this way of thinking with Unitarian Universalism. It wasn't until I got curious and started to let go of what I thought I knew about religion and starting thinking about something that the minister of my home congregation often says. Church, he reminds us, is where we come to practice being the person that we want to be. And who is this person that I want to be? Well, I want to be someone who lives our shared values, not just on Sundays, but every day of the week. Someone who aspires to do better and to be better than I would be if I had never come into a Unitarian Universalist church. These shared values that we use covenant, that we covenant to help one another to live and to uphold, they are the foundation of my aspirations to be a better person. We are a covenantal faith, not bound by common belief. We are bound together in religious and in spiritual community by our covenant to uphold and live our shared values. So when our two denominations, those Unitarians and those Universalists, when they came together and merged in 1961, they did it at an assembly of people who gathered from all across our country. They proposed and they debated and they voted on what would hold us together in religious community. And when they came to that agreement of what we all had in common, they voted to covenant and uphold not a belief, not a creed, but a set of shared principles. And those principles, in order to not become a creed, have evolved and changed over time to become what we now know as our shared values. Our current UUA bylaws state, as Unitarian Universalists, we covenant congregation to congregation and through our association to support and assist one another in our ministries. We draw from our heritages of freedom, reason, hope, and courage, building on the foundations of love. Love is the power that holds us together and is the center of our shared values. We are accountable to one another for doing the work of living our shared values through the spiritual disciplines of love. Inseparable from one another, these shared values are interdependence. We honor the interdependent web of all existence, and we covenant to protect Earth and all beings from exploitation. We will create and nurture sustainable relationships of care and respect, mutuality and justice. We will work to repair harm and damaged relationships. Pluralism. We covenant to learn from one another in our free and responsible search for truth and for meaning. We embrace our differences and commonalities with love, curiosity, and respect. Justice. We covenant to dismantle racism and all forms of systemic oppression. We support the use of inclusive democratic processes to make decisions within our congregations, our association, and our society at large. Transformation. We covenant to collectively transform and grow spiritually and ethically. Openness to change is fundamental to our Unitarian and Universalist heritages, never complete and never perfect. Generosity. We covenant to freely and compassionately share our faith, presence, and resources. Our generosity connects us to one another in relationships of interdependence and mutuality. And finally, equity. We declare that every person is inherently worthy. We covenant to use our time, wisdom, attention, and money to build and sustain fully accessible and inclusive communities. I'm just going to tell you all that these shared values that hold us in religious community, they're not easy, are they? But to me, they are beautiful and they are aspirational, as they call me to be better than I might otherwise be. Here's the thing that I love about covenants. They are relational. They are a shared commitment and a promise between two or more people, and it offers guidance for that inner work of discernment, for how we practice being that person that we want to be. It lets us practice being in right relationship with one another so that we can more easily do the same out in the world when we go beyond the walls and the doors of this church and our community. Because we do promise, we do covenant to one another to uphold and to live these values, not just on Sundays, but throughout the whole week as well. We come to church to practice living these values, here where we are loved, where we can ask questions, explore and engage with new ideas. Here we bring our curiosity, and like Sofer's cat, we take it all in. And like my kids, we are encouraged to be fearless and boundless in our exploration of what it means to live these values within our church walls so that we can take those values and do likewise out in the world. So no, curiosity did not kill the cat. It set it free to explore its world with curiosity and joy, to learn and to grow. And on this annual Sunday meeting, because you didn't think you'd get away without me mentioning our meeting, I invite you to join us following this service. We will live our values as we exercise the democratic process. I invite you to come bringing your curiosity and your generosity, engaging in our free and responsible search for truth and for meaning, to hear the reports of our church leaders, to learn what they have done and how they have been living our values here in our church and out in our world. You will engage with asking questions, seeking to find your truth. And when it is time to make decisions, may we embrace our differences and commonalities with love, curiosity, and respect as we practice being the people that we want to be. May it be so, and amen. I'd like to invite our ushers to come up and lead us in extinguishing our chalice, saying those words we say each week by UU Minister Reverend Elizabeth Sally Jones.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are dead.
I promised everyone 10:45 we'd be done, so how about we sing just the first verse of hymn number 345, With Joy We Claim the Growing Light. If you would rise in body or in spirit and join in singing just the first verse. Written by UU Minister and former military chaplain, Reverend Rebecca Savage. As we end our time together today in spiritual community, may we depart this sacred space knowing that blessings shall follow us all the days of our lives if we live in and return to right relationships, if we extend grace and forgiveness to ourselves and to others, if we behold mercy as a spiritual power, if we emanate the greater love that holds us close, may our lives radiate that blessing that we have been given. May kindness and compassion fall gently from us. May there be peace in the world, and may it begin again with us. Our service begins when our service ends. Go in peace.